welcome back. We're walking the beach today, and we're going to talk about some topics today regarding life in America versus life in the Philippines. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to try to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it with you. So thank you so much for watching the vlog today, and we're going to start right now. When I first came to the Philippines, I was exercising at the Bally's Total Health Spa. It's over in Tustin, California. I don't think it's there no more. And I was there, and I told the guy, I'm going to go to the Philippines and meet a woman. And they said, no, don't go to the Philippines. And I said, why? And he said, well, my friend went there and he died or something. So I said, but I'm not going there doing anything bad. I just go to meet a girl. And they said, no, you don't go there. It's a very bad country. You better not go to the Philippines. But I didn't listen to them. I went ahead. I had the plane ticket. I'm going to go. And I went, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. The water was nice. It was just, I had such a great time. I went to Boracay. I flew into Manila. Then I went to Boracay. And I met my girlfriend then, and we went to Boracay and had a great time. It's really nice. I fell in love with the place. And I brought a bunch of water and food because I was so scared. So I overloaded my bag with all this stuff, and I didn't need to do that, but I did anyway. I must admit, I enjoyed the Philippine culture. It was really nice, and the people were great. They spoke English, which was good for me. I'm terrible at languages, so speaking English really helps me a lot. And then just had a good time. I fell in love with the Philippines. And I used to go to Hawaii before the Philippines. I love Hawaii so much. It's really great. Then I found the Philippines. It had like the similar climate to Hawaii. So it was really great. It had the tropical, humid climate. Life in America was also great. I enjoyed my life in America. It's really great. America definitely is one of the greatest countries in the world. And they used to say that if you leave America, like, you're leaving the land of promise and, you know, goodbye. But that's not true, really. There's lots of places on the earth that are beautiful. America definitely is one of them, and the Philippines is another. But I enjoyed my life in America. I liked the food, I liked my business, I liked my family, love my family, and I just liked everything. I have lots of friends there, riding the motorcycles. It was all really great. I enjoyed my life in America. To me, the food in America is so much better than the food in the Philippines. So as far as the food goes, I guess I would have to say America takes the cake. It is delicious foods. I love the food. I miss the foods in America. They're really great. And the Philippine food is okay. I'm just not really into it that much. So when I cook food, I cook a lot of Italian and Mexican food. But I'm not really huge into the Philippine food, but there's Philippine foods that I like. California had some pretty awesome weather. It really is one of the most perfect places on earth as far as the weather goes. But the Philippines is also another really good place. It's a little more humid like Hawaii, so it's a little different than California. California has the dry heat, and the Philippines has the tropical warm. Your face sweats a lot, but in California you don't sweat at all. It's a dry heat. When I shave my face in California, I always need shaving cream because my face would rip if I would shave it dry, and it did. But in the Philippines, you sweat a little bit, so you don't really need the cream like you do in America because your face has a little sweat on it and it's easy to shave. The government in America is so much different than the government in the Philippines. In America, you have lots of freedom. You can say what you want. You can pretty much do what you want. You can act however you want. It's typically okay. No one's going to stop you. But in the Philippines, it's a lot different. Especially being a foreigner, you can't go around behaving the same way as you could in America. You got to watch what you say. You can't be belittling the country or anything like that. You're a guest in the Philippines, so you must respect their laws, their ordinances. Oh my gosh, the culture is so much different in America than the Philippines. The culture is just so different, and the people are so different. The people are typically poor, a lot of them in the Philippines, and they're typically more on the humble class people. So they're pretty nice people, and you know, it's just, they're like the salt of the earth. and they're really nice, and it's really a nice place. The people are respectful. You typically don't feel threatened. It's a nice culture. Because the government's so strict, people are afraid to do bad and stuff like that, which is good. It's good to have a strict country. It's good to have law-abiding citizens. In America, it's a little unruly as far as like people can behave how they want to, and no one's gonna get penalized for it. But in the Philippines, if you behave the same way, you get kicked out. Dating in the Philippines is so much different than dating in America. It's just totally night and day difference. In America, typically the ladies, I should say, when I say girls, it means ladies, because they're girls. But when the ladies, they're dating, they always want to know like how much money you have, or what kind of job you have, what kind of car you drive, where you live. Where do you live? Do you live in the rich place in the mountains, or do you live in the poor place by the freeway? Where do you live? And so dating in America for me was hard because the girls all wanted to know your income first. They were interested in your income more than they're interested in you, oftentimes. But that's not true with all ladies. I'm just telling you my experience, and so that may not be 100% true. But I had always experiences of like being audited. How much money do you make? What kind of job do you have? And it's like, you know, where do you live? And it shouldn't be that way, right? It shouldn't be that way. But in the Philippines, it's a lot different because there's a lot more poverty, and the women typically, they live in a bad house or a shack or not so good of a house typically. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but they are nervous about being judged for where they live and how poor their family is. Just like everywhere, there's good and bad in every race, every culture. You have to kind of sift through the wheat and find the good person, but there's really good women in both America and the Philippines for sure, and I've met both, and there's some really great people in both countries. I like the women dating in the Philippines a lot because they're simple and they're just, you know, they're not expecting anything as far as like, you know, what kind of car you drive, where you live, anything. You can have any kind of economic, and the girls will typically like you. So, and the girls are a lot different than the America too. So I like the dating in the Philippines a lot. The women are really beautiful, and it's just a really nice place. The girls or the women, they typically speak English. For the women, I would have to say the Philippines is a lot better than America. That's just my feeling. For the food, I would have to say America is better than the Philippines to me. And the housing is a lot more better in the Philippines because it's lower price. You can live a lot better. A lot of people with their Social Security, they come here, they retire, they rent, and they live like kings and queens. Whereas in America, if they take that same money and they rent, they're living at poverty level. Many, many years ago, I got this brochure in the mail. This is like long time ago, years and years ago, when I was living in America. It's called Cherry Blossoms, and I opened the book. They sent it to my house, and I looked at the women. They're all Filipina. They all look the same, and I said, God, these ladies all look the same, and they all just had that same look to them. And I ended up not really like looking at that book anymore because it just looked funny because all the women looked the same. But coming to the Philippines, the women do not look the same. They're all different. They all have different looks. They have different everything, just like any country. But when I was looking through that pamphlet in that Cherry Blossom, the women all look the same, and I'm like, I don't like this at all. But in the Philippines, for real, the women are so different, they're so unique, and many are so beautiful. For many in America, it's work, 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 pay your bills. Every day you open your mail and there'll be bills for your cell phone or internet or water or taxes. Every day there is bills. You had to work and you had to go ahead and pay those bills. But in the Philippines, life is so much more simpler, so much more better. You don't even have mail coming to your house in the Philippines. It's just really when you pay your bills in the Philippines, you have to drive to the electric company, pay the bills by hand, or the water company. So it's just a different lifestyle. Life in the Philippines is so much more relaxed, so much easier, and you don't need as much money to live. Sometimes I read the internet and I read what's the most popular places in the world to retire to. And then I look and it's like Costa Rica and all these places like that. And then I don't even see the Philippines on there. And I'm like, what the heck? The Philippines is really one of the greatest places in the world to retire. The money goes far, the dollar goes far. It's a nice culture, the people are friendly, they like foreigners here. It's really a nice place. The weather is beautiful, the water here is beautiful, everything is nice. The country is law-abiding, the government is good, everything is nice. In the Philippines, mostly, I mean, I don't think a lot of things are bad. Both countries are really good. They both have their positive and their negative, like everything. There's nothing that's totally perfect. And so I would say that the Philippines is really a nice place. And America is really a nice place. I miss my friends and everybody in America. I have so many great friends, and I don't have as many friends in the Philippines. But it's really a great place to live, and it's peaceful. You know, you can be at peace. It's really great. So if I were to rank a country that I would say would be better to live and retire, I would have to say the Philippines.